The year is 541 AD. The Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, stands at the pinnacle of its power. Its capital, Constantinople, is a bustling metropolis, a hub of commerce, culture, and political intrigue. Ruled by the ambitious Emperor Justinian I, the empire stretches from the Balkans to the borders of Persia. Justinian, a man of grand vision, seeks to restore the former glory of the Roman Empire. Justinian, a ruler with a dream to restore the glory of Rome, oversees a period of flourishing culture and military might. His reign is marked by significant architectural achievements, including the construction of the magnificent Hagia Sophia. Yet, unbeknownst to all, a storm is brewing in the east, a silent and invisible enemy poised to cast a long shadow over Justinian's grand ambitions. The bustling marketplaces and serene cityscapes are about to be disrupted by an unseen terror. This enemy was the plague, a devastating pestilence that would become known as the Plague of Justinian. It would sweep through the empire with relentless ferocity, leaving death and despair in its wake. The Plague of Justinian was a pandemic of bubonic plague, a disease spread by fleas living on rodents. These tiny creatures would become the harbingers of doom, carrying the deadly bacteria from one host to another. It is believed to have originated in Central Asia and was carried westward along trade routes, eventually reaching the bustling port of Pelusium in Egypt. The interconnectedness of the ancient world facilitated the rapid spread of the disease. From there, it quickly spread throughout the empire and beyond, carried by ships laden with grain and other goods. The movement of people and goods across vast distances ensured that no corner of the empire was spared. The arrival of the plague would mark the beginning of a terrifying chapter in human history, a period of widespread death and societal upheaval that would forever alter the course of the Byzantine Empire. The once thriving cities would become ghost towns, and the empire's strength would be severely tested. The plague's arrival in Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire, was nothing short of apocalyptic. The bustling city, known for its grandeur and strategic importance, was about to face an unprecedented catastrophe. Ships arriving from Egypt, once laden with riches and grain, now carried a deadly cargo. These vessels, known as the Black Ships, were harbingers of doom, bringing with them the seeds of a devastating epidemic. Sailors lay dead on the decks, their bodies covered in painful, pus-filled sores. The sight was horrifying, a grim prelude to the suffering that awaited the city's inhabitants. The disease, spread by fleas infesting black rats that thrived in the city's grain stores and sewers, took hold with terrifying speed. The symptoms were horrific, and the spread was relentless. Victims experienced fever, chills, headaches, and swollen lymph nodes. These symptoms would quickly escalate, leaving the afflicted in unbearable pain. As the disease progressed, these buboes, from which the bubonic plague derives its name, turned black and oozed pus. The sight of these blackened swellings was a clear sign of impending death. Internal bleeding followed, often leading to a gruesome death. The streets of Constantinople were soon filled with the cries of the dying and the stench of decay. Adding to the terror, no one understood what caused the disease or how to treat it. Medieval doctors were baffled, and their attempts at treatment were futile. Desperate citizens turned to prayer, penance, and traditional remedies. But nothing seemed to stop the relentless march of the plague. The sense of helplessness was overwhelming, as the once thriving city descended into chaos and despair. Constantinople, one of the greatest cities in the world, descended into chaos. The streets, once teeming with life and commerce, became open-air morgues. Bodies, sometimes thousands a day, lay uncollected in the streets. The stench of death permeated the air. The city's infrastructure, overwhelmed by the sheer number of dead, collapsed. Burial rites, once sacrosanct, were abandoned as mass graves were dug to accommodate the dead. The social order too began to crumble under the strain of the relentless mortality rate. Fear and suspicion gripped the populace. People avoided contact with one another, terrified of contracting the deadly disease. Rumors and accusations flew, further eroding the fabric of society. The plague did not discriminate, striking down rich and poor, young and old alike. The very foundations of the Byzantine world, once seemingly unshakable, were shaken to their core. The plague's impact extended far beyond the walls of Constantinople. Across the Byzantine Empire, from the Balkans to the Middle East, the disease ravaged the population. Entire villages were wiped out. Fields lay fallow as farmers succumbed to the disease, leading to widespread famine. Trade, the lifeblood of the empire, ground to a halt. The empire's military, the very force that had enabled Justinian to dream of restoring Roman glory, was decimated by the plague. Soldiers, weakened by disease or fear, deserted their posts. Recruitment became impossible as the pool of able-bodied men dwindled. Justinian's grand military campaigns, aimed at reclaiming lost Roman territories in the west, faltered and stalled. The empire, already stretched thin by constant warfare, was now critically vulnerable. In the face of this unprecedented crisis, Emperor Justinian I faced an immense challenge. The plague threatened not only his reign, but the very survival of the empire he ruled. Yet, amidst the despair and chaos, Justinian displayed remarkable resilience and leadership. He personally contracted the plague but, to the astonishment of many, recovered. His survival was seen by some as a sign of divine favor, bolstering his authority in a time of crisis. Justinian took decisive action to combat the plague and mitigate its impact. He implemented quarantine measures, established hospitals, and distributed food to the destitute. Recognizing the importance of maintaining order, he issued laws to prevent profiteering and price gouging. He also invested heavily in rebuilding Constantinople, repairing its infrastructure and restoring its grandeur. The Plague of Justinian, though it eventually subsided, left an indelible mark on the Byzantine Empire. The empire lost an estimated 25 to 50% of its population, a demographic catastrophe from which it would never fully recover. The economic and military power of the empire was severely weakened, halting Justinian's expansionist ambitions and leaving it vulnerable to external threats. Yet the plague's legacy was not entirely negative. The crisis forced the Byzantines to adapt and innovate. Justinian's reforms, particularly in the areas of administration and law, had a lasting impact on the empire. The plague also had profound social and cultural consequences, leading to a questioning of traditional beliefs and practices, and paving the way for new ideas to emerge. The Plague of Justinian is often cited as a contributing factor to the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire. While the Western Empire had already fallen by 541 AD, the plague weakened the Byzantine Empire, which was the last bastion of Roman power in the world. With a diminished population, a weakened economy, and a depleted military, the Byzantine Empire was less able to resist the encroachments of its enemies, such as the Lombards in Italy and the Sasanian Empire in the east. The plague also had a significant impact on trade and communication between the east and west, further isolating the two halves of the former Roman Empire. This division contributed to the cultural and political divergence of Eastern and Western Europe, a process that would shape the course of European history for centuries to come. The impact of the Plague of Justinian was not limited to the Byzantine Empire. Evidence suggests that the plague spread as far east as China and as far west as Britain. Its arrival in these regions likely had devastating consequences, although the lack of historical records makes it difficult to assess the full extent of the damage. The plague's impact on global trade networks was significant, disrupting commerce and contributing to economic decline in many regions. It also had a profound psychological impact, instilling fear and uncertainty in populations across the globe. The Plague of Justinian serves as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the ancient world and the devastating impact that pandemics can have on human civilization. resources and administrative capacities. Yet from the ashes of this catastrophe arose a more resilient and adaptable empire, one that would continue to shape the course of history for centuries to come. The Byzantine Empire learned to adapt to new realities, developing strategies to cope with the aftermath. The Plague of Justinian, though a tragedy of immense proportions, ultimately serves as a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity and its ability to adapt and rebuild in the face of adversity. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, resilience and hope can lead to renewal and progress.